For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
Hey everybody, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad, Marketing Gunslinger. We are laughing at ourselves because apparently one of us who is in charge of like recording and taking care of this stuff. And I can't remember which one of us is really, doing all that, but I think it's me. And
his name does not start with the.
It does not start with the. I really should be keeping track of our topics and stuff like that, do a better job of that. But I came to the realization that we talked, that our last 2 conversations that we recorded, we talked about the same topic in both. So yeah,
referrals are very, very important.
Referrals, so important, and I'll tell you,
we want to do the same.
Yeah, we're probably going to come back to that, but from a different, a different slant or a more advanced look at it and stuff like that. So anyway, and so in thinking about today, just to make sure that we don't duplicate our efforts again, we're going to talk about referrals. So, no, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Hey, like I said, Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad and Marketing Gunslinger, not the rock star. And I am with the rock star himself,
the Dave Loomis.
Oh my God, I love that voice.
Yeah.
That voice is just something.
Yeah, so. And there's a good segue from voiceovers to our topic today.
And our topic today is?
Super Bowl ads.
No kidding. Super Bowl ads. So yes. Regardless of when you watch this, you could watch this in a couple of years and it'll still be cool because, we just had
2022 Super
We had the
Bowl.
2022, I think it was the 56th Super Bowl. Yep. And between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. It was a great game. Ended up, the Rams ended up winning. And that was a lot of fun. But of course, as we all know, one of the big things about the Super Bowl is that are the commercials.
Yes.
Very often people pay more attention to the commercials than they do the actual game. How do you feel about that?
I think it's extremely important because it gets everybody to pay attention, and they're highly produced. They're anticipated. And I would say half of them are a little bit of a letdown because expectations are too high. And maybe the 40% of them are pretty good. You get a little chuckle and laugh or whatever. And then, there might be 10% of them that are like, wow, that's great.
Don't you think though that when somebody's going to spend $7 million for an ad, and over the years where the expectations for the commercials to be good, don't you think that we should be allowed to have high expectations?
We should have high expectations. That's not a wrong thing.
Yeah, I agree. How do you personally
So should the
feel?
people that are paying the $7 million. Okay. They should have very high expectations for it.
They should have super high expectations as far as I'm concerned. And so what we're going to do is we're not going to talk about all the commercials, of course, but what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen where I have the USA Today ad meters top 10 commercials during Super Bowl 56 from 10 to number 1, of course, doing the David Letterman, now it's just what we do now.
Right, it's what we do. And for all of you that want to actually watch this at some point, this will be posted on the YouTube channel of either myself or Steve. And if you're just listening to this, Obviously, you can't see it, but it's a reference for us to kind of jog our memory as we're talking through what these top 10 are. But we're going to bring in some other ones besides the top 10 too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, but that's a really good point for the people who are listening. But I'm sure that they remember a lot of these commercials, that they watch. The number 10 commercial, according to the ad meter, was the E-Trade off the grid commercial, which was, back in, years ago, E-Trade used to have like this baby who talked, right? And was the E-Trade spokesperson for a while. And in this one, and they haven't used the baby for a while, but in this one, they apparently, the E-Trade people decided, oh my gosh, we need to get the baby back because we really need.
They bring the baby back. It's so strange because it's been years and the baby has not aged.
That I found that to be pretty remarkable myself, but the kid did not age, but he's sitting there talking and chatting away. And they convince him to come back to help them. So it got the number 10 best rating on.
I thought it was funny. It caught my attention.
All right. Would it make you want to use E-Trade?
I knew it was for E-Trade, which is definitely important. It doesn't make me want to use E-Trade personally.
Okay. So it actually took me a little bit to remember that there had been a baby in these commercials.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But then, I'm not a baby, so I don't remember those things. I'm not, and I'm not even youthful. All right. Number 9 was Toyota. I guess it was the trucks and SUVs, or mainly just trucks, keeping up with the Joneses, where they had Timothy Lee Jones, Leslie Jones, and Rashida Jones all driving.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee. Didn't I say Tommy Lee?
You said Timothy Lee.
I said Timothy Lee.
I don't know who that is.
Timothy Leary's brother.
Yes.
Tommy Lee. Thank you for that. So
a bunch of Joneses.
And what? They're competing. They're driving fast. They're. I don't know what they're doing. Did they sell any trucks?
I'm not sure. I didn't really understand it all that well until Nick Jonas showed up.
Oh, that's right. The Jonas Brothers, or Nick Jonas showed up at the very end. I forgot about him.
He wants to be a Jones, but he's a Jonas.
Yeah, he's keeping up with the Jonases. So,
so
I guess a little humor.
It was okay. It was okay. Honestly, I didn't remember it was for Toyota.
Yeah, that's a good point. Then there was one that was completely forgettable for me that is ranked number 8, and that was the NFL's Bring Down the House thing. And, where they had the characters in.
They came out of the TV and they wrecked the kid's house while the parents were out. Is that right?
Right. That's right. Yes, that's correct. And talk a little more about it, because Kelly is texting me and I need to tell her that we're busy right now. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, this one, honestly, I didn't even know it was for the NFL until the very end. I mean, of course, it features a lot of NFL players. It was kind of cool, the animation. They did a lot of work on all that. I mean, it must have cost a lot to produce. Those things are not cheap. No, not cheap at all.
So, and again, I'm not, other than just, I guess, promoting the league and stuff like that, that was good. Okay. Now here's one that I think had promise, and that was the number 7 was BMW's, electric car. Right? Is that what we call them now? Electric cars?
Sure.
And it was Zeus and Hera, and Zeus being played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Hera by Salma Hayek. And they retired, to Palm Springs. And he said, I'm all done being Zeus. I'm all done being the god of the world and everything like that. But he's in his retirement, and all he's mowing his yard or something like that, and his neighbor is over there, and his electric mower has died.
He can't help. He can't help electrifying things, right?
Well, the people are going, "Hey Zeus, my lawnmower died," or "Hey Zeus, my car died," And so Zeus is just zapping them, and stuff. And he's getting really tired of this. And then Hera comes up with this idea of, let's get him his own car, right? And he thought that was really cool. So
I do have an opinion on this ad. Is that the ad could have been the best ad in the world, and it would never make up for how ugly the grill is on the front of that BMW. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but they just keep getting worse and worse. I mean, pretty soon, a car is going to be designed, and literally the entire car is a front grill. I don't know why. Plus, you don't even need one on an electric car. So
that's a solid point.
Out.
Yeah, you don't need that airflow or anything like that. So
yep.
So
okay.
Yeah.
What's
number
next?
Number 6. Lay's Golden Memories. Lay's potato chips with Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd sitting there getting ready to go into a wedding, and they're reminiscing about the good old days of the crap that they went through together. And every example that they think of course, in those examples, they're eating Lay's potato chips and stuff like that. And so
it was kind of weird. I thought the bride. The zombie bride, ghost bride thing, it didn't do a whole lot for me. I don't know about you, Steve, but it was okay.
$7 million. And let's remember, okay, that does not include production. Okay,
true. And they had to pay Paul Rudd, who's America's sexiest man. Apparently.
He's sweet. He's America's sweetheart, isn't he?
Something like that. And
I think, exactly, something like that. Number 5, which I thought was one of the few examples of the feel-good type of commercial, the tug at your heartstrings, the Toyota commercial, Brothers, where two brothers are growing up together and one of them loses his eyesight, and they're both very athletic. And one loses his eyesight and the other one says, "That's not going to stop us. We're still going to compete." And went on to become, his brother went on to become a superstar Paralympic athlete. Yep, and stuff. And and so from a tug at your heartstrings type of thing, I think that probably worked out pretty well. I don't know.
Great commercial. I watched it. I loved it. I didn't know it was for Toyota though. Actually, just now seeing this is the first time I realized it was something for Toyota.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this here in a minute. Okay, number 4, Kia's Robo Dog. Electric Robo Dog who's working in a store or something like that, and he sees this electric car outside, and then he breaks free and he says, I gotta be with that car. I gotta be with that car. And he chases it and he's jumping off of buildings and he's doing all kinds of things to try to catch that car. So what did you think?
Didn't do it for me.
No, didn't do it for me. All right. Now, Doritos has historically had great Super Bowl commercials.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
And in this one, this woman she's up in a tree and she's like in the jungle or something like that, or in some forest, some wild forest, and she drops her Doritos from the out of her backpack or something like that, falls to the ground, and a sloth climbs down and opens up and starts eating and they're hot. They're flaming hot Doritos, and and then a deer comes up, and then I think a rabbit comes up, and other animals are coming up, and they're all eating her Doritos, and then she climbs down and tries to get it back from them, and the sloth all of a sudden moves very quickly and takes the bag and runs away. So
I loved it. I thought it was really funny and entertaining. I was just thinking before, like where are the Doritos ads, and then it came on.
Yeah,
and a lot of these things, remember the Doritos ads? I think some of them used to be like the viewers came up with them. Like there were contests that people would write in with their ideas for these commercials. But I don't know if they're doing that anymore. I did have a thought though.
Okay.
As you were explaining this commercial, Steve, and you're really going to love this because it ties into our previous podcasts. But you know how you're always saying that moose and rabbit eat different things?
Right.
Because, target markets and segmentation and content marketing and so forth, the analogy. You just said that both the deer and the rabbit were eating these flaming hot Doritos. So is that the secret to marketing? Is, feed them Doritos and Cheetos because everybody loves them?
Well, apparently that's what they think.
Okay.
Is that everybody loves them? Now, of course, I would say that's not true, but they took some artistic license there.
All right.
And stuff. Number two, the Avis of ad meter. Okay, no, they're number two. Amazon's Alexa mind reader with Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost at home, and they have this kind of funny bit going where Alexa's reading their minds and responding, and it's inappropriate stuff is going on, and they don't really want her to read their minds, but it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny, and even Colin Jost acted he did okay. So that might have gotten some people to try Alexa.
Yeah, you're right. They were making fun of themselves.
Yes, very much so.
Being self-deprecating. Yes. Actually, that's actually one of the things. It's like because everybody says, "Oh, Alexa's listening to what you're saying," and processing it, and then serving up, ads or whatever, or,
right.
And now they're just taking it, a step further and saying, "Well, Amazon reads your mind."
Right.
Well, I thought it was great.
Right. Yeah, and then the number one selected was the Rocket Homes and Rocket Mortgage Dream House with Anna Kendrick and Barbie, where they're playing with Barbie, and and they're looking at the house, and they're saying something along the lines of, "Oh, we could sell this house," or something like that. And then all of a sudden, other people jump in, other dolls jump in, like a guy who's got a all cash offer. I don't remember all of them, but they kind of made it look like there was going to be a bidding war for this house and stuff like that. But then Rocket Mortgage, Barbie got, because of Rocket Mortgage, she already got, pre-qualified and everything like that. And it all went really, really well. And Barbie got the house. So I thought this commercial was pretty good.
It was my favorite. It's number one on this list. It was my favorite.
I would say it's really close to my favorite. I think it did a great job of entertaining. It did a great job of calling out a situation that a lot of people go through when they're buying a house, right? And especially today, where it's the market is still pretty warm, and you run into these other people that are trying to outbid you or undercut you or something like that. And so they kind of called out some of the challenges, obstacles that a buyer might have going in, and then said, "Here's the solution. We have the solution for you," right? Which I think, that's good marketing.
Yeah. Do you think that Mattel was in on it?
Oh, yeah, 1,000,000%. But They didn't say Mattel. They just used Barbie because she's a brand herself, right?
Right.
So
I was just, it's obviously a collab, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was definitely a collab, and they did. I think they did a very good job. I think it was the best overall commercial, on the Super Bowl. Now I have another commercial, that I want to talk about. Okay. I don't know about you.
Okay.
And I don't even remember the name of the company. But it was the crypto. It was the crypto ad.
Yeah.
And the thing was it just had a QR code that was just like the old Atari Pong game where it just kind of bounced around the screen for 60 seconds. I think it probably bounced around for about 57 seconds, and with nothing. It was just a QR code bouncing around. Now, what was your first thought about that commercial when you saw it?
I thought that it was. I thought something else was going to happen for so long that I didn't get up and point my phone at the QR code. So I probably should have gotten up and done it. And then by the time I realized, wow, they're really doing the whole thing, just the QR code bouncing around. That's crazy. I've heard that I knew going in that there were a lot of crypto companies, and so I just figured it was one of those. But I haven't seen the download on what response they got. Did you?
I have not seen the numbers, but I have. I've read a couple of reports that the company, because number one, I mean, it was aiming at a moose. Somebody who knew immediately what that QR code was for, was that you needed to pick up your phone and take a picture of that QR code so that it would open up, the website and take you right straight in there. And for people who were, and let's face it, you and I are in the older end, or I certainly am, but I stay I stay as much on top of technology as I can. But I would say that most people my age probably did not really get what was going on, and they certainly didn't get it very quickly if they did, and they did not see it as being like, oh, I have to take an action. This is a call to action. That's really what it is. It's a call to action, and so
I thought it was clever. The proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah, I'll definitely be reading up some more on that. Were there any other commercials that
did you see the GM commercial that was the Austin Powers remake, the Dr. Evil?
Yes.
It didn't make the top 10 on the list that you had. It made some other top 10 lists.
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, it's certain demographic. Of course, it was nostalgia night. This is an aside, but there's been a lot of discussion after the fact about the halftime show, in the fact that it was fantastic that they finally got around to featuring hip hop and rap, except 50-year-olds, right? So there were all these jokes about, oh, well, if you're ready for a colonoscopy, you like that halftime show, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I loved the Dr. Evil spot.
Yeah, what? I thought that was really well done.
90 seconds too. So it cost $10.5 million.
Yeah, $10.5 million bucks.
So that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. I thought that you're right. I thought that commercial was pretty well done. All the characters were there. And it was a lot of fun. And then, when they're driving away, and of course they leave the kid behind, and stuff. It was pretty good. But the thing for me with these commercials, and I don't know if you have any others that you want to mention, but again, goes back to I always kind of look at it like if you're not really, if you don't really have a call to action, then the money that you spend on those commercials, because a lot of the commercials that were basically awareness building commercials, that's God's way of saying you've got too much money. The smaller companies, like the crypto guys and other companies in the past, historically, who have really reached when they've spent the big bucks for Super Bowls. Almost all of the smaller guys try to do something that is much more, has a very specific call to action in those things. And that's what I would like to see more of.
Yeah. Yep. How about, did you see the Matthew McConaughey ad about,
oh yes. It was
okay. So it was obviously at the very end, you didn't know what this ad was about.
That's right.
So, he's basically making fun of SpaceX and anybody else that, wants to like escape our Earth and so forth. And he's like, don't live in the past, don't live in the future. We don't need to escape to anywhere. We're living here. Let's take care of where we live. And then all of a sudden at the end, it just says Salesforce.com.
Salesforce.com, which
So what does that have to
made no
do with
sense
Salesforce.com?
whatsoever.
What does that have to do with Salesforce.com?
Yeah, it made no sense whatsoever. Plus, when Kay, when the commercial started, Kay's immediate response was, "Oh, a Cadillac commercial."
Oh, of course, Lincoln.
Lincoln. I'm sorry, Lincoln commercial, right? Yeah, and that is. I wonder how many people thought they were watching.
He's typecast himself for that.
Lincoln and Matthew McConaughey, are like this. They have really kind of bonded together, and you don't think of one without the other. So
my wife Dory said, "Wow, that was a great commercial. What a great message." And then I'm like, okay, well, it's a good message. Yeah, be here now. That's cool. I believe in all that stuff. Eckhart Tolle, live in the moment, all that. But I still don't know what that has to do with Salesforce.com.
Right.
Unless they're just saying they're spending their $7 million on a nice message for people.
Well, I'll bet a very high percentage of people who remember that commercial do not remember it was for Salesforce. And you know what? You asked a question earlier before we got on. I think it was before we got on. You asked me, "Are there any B2B commercials?" And I said,
yes,
I don't think so. But that was a B2B commercial.
Yes, it was. Most definitely.
Come on.
There you go, folks. There we had to have one little nugget from our episode that had to do with B2B.
So what's the moral to the story here today?
I think it's the same as it's been for many years. In 1986, I was a media buyer, Leo Burnett, in Chicago, and I bought a Super Bowl ad for Allstate Insurance. And it was a local ad for the Chicago market, and it was $500,000 then.
Yeah.
In 86. That was a lot of money to spend.
Yeah. Is Allstate still in business?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Good Hands people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're not owned by Sears anymore. At the time, Leo Burnett had all these accounts. Dean Witter was owned by Sears, and so was Allstate, and everybody and their brother. They had this conglomerate, but it was very bizarre. But the moral is the same to me: is that you've got a very big audience. So if you have a mass market product, then it sometimes makes sense to spend that money. I mean, we as media buyers, we calculated GRPs. It was dollars per 1,000 people in your in your demographic target that you reach.
Sure.
And hey, if you can do it, that is a excellent way to make an incredible splash and get your name out there and potentially drive some business. If you're doing what we talk most about on our show, which is segmentation and super high definition targeting, it doesn't make sense for us. Maybe Salesforce.com because they're selling to everybody, but I don't know.
Yeah, and to me the how does it translate into sales? How does it translate into sales? And for most of the consumer ads that we saw, that's very, very difficult. I think that you might see. I think companies like Rocket Mortgage and Doritos might see bumps, after an event, and that can certainly tell them that they achieved something there. But I think the rest of them, they just sort of feel like, okay, it's an awareness thing, and okay, we got into the top 10 of the ad meter, and so good for us. So, but
right.
for those people that are watching, listening to our podcast or watching us on YouTube or something, just keep that stuff in mind, that awareness is very, very difficult to prove. And I have never cashed a check on awareness. I don't even know how to do that. I think awareness is important, but I think awareness needs to be coupled with persuasion. How do you feel about that?
Sure, I agree. People claim that you have to have awareness before you have that kind of conversion. But I think there's probably instances where people, even in B2B, are making decisions on the spot, even for some things that maybe it's an alternative that they really hadn't heard of before, and they're pulling the trigger on it because they see a good deal. They're a buyer of something or other. I think we have, as B2B marketers, we have to be focused on the real prize, which is sales.
Yep. 100%. I agree with that. So
yeah. The other thing that popped in my mind as you were talking, whenever I think of Super Bowl ads, I just always think of the Apple ad.
Apple 1984.
The 1984 ad where the person with the hammer ran up to the Big Brother screen and smashed it. And that's historic. And if you are listening but you don't know what we're talking about, just Google what we just said and watch that ad. And even today it would stand up but now Apple is so big,
right.
One of the biggest companies on the planet. And somebody could basically come along and say they're Big Brother and smash them.
Yep. And it was the ad, it only ran that one time. And it's the most famous Super Bowl ad of all time, maybe possibly the most famous commercial of all time, period. Yeah. And, people still talk about it, and it was setting us all up for a big announcement. That's for sure.
Always grasping. We're always, now we've got that, and then we're always trying for that slam dunk now.
Yep. So a little pivot today, just kind of talking about current events and fun stuff, but still a marketing point that we want to share with everybody. That even when you're watching commercials and stuff, is you can think about this stuff and think about, okay, how would you have done it differently?
Right. And are you inciting? Are you inspiring action?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Are you persuading and potentially getting results? So, my friend, take us out of here.
Yes, sir. That has been the voice of Steve Miller, who is not the rock star Steve Miller, but we still are going to have the rock star Steve Miller on our show sometime. I'm working on it right now. I have my agents, I have my people working on it to see if he can be a guest of ours. That would be really fun. I am the Dave Loomis, marketer, B2B marketer, and you've been listening to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, and thank you for doing that, and we'll see you next time. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to b2bmarketingsalespodcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing, keep on selling.